Hi there guys, how are you today, and welcome to my review of the 2017 Hungarian Grand Prix. So before we start, the full race results and the current championship standings will be in the description, so go look at that if you don't know them yet. But now, let's get into this review. So I'll start by telling you the results. This race was won by Ferrari driver Sebastian Vettel, who led him with Ferrari 1-2. So Kimi Raikkonen was in second. Then it was the two Mercedes drivers of Bottas and Hamilton. Third and fourth, Verstappen fifth, Alonso sixth, Sainz seventh, Perez eighth, Ocon ninth, Stoffel Vandoorne in 10th, Daniil Kvyat in 11th, Palmer in 12th, Magnussen 13th, Stroll 14th, Wehrlein 15th, Marcus Ericsson 16th, and then Hulkenberg, De Resta, and I will tell you why the hell he was there, Jolyon and Ricciardo all retired from this race. So let's tell you about each driver and get some sort of review of this race done. So, as I said, this race was won by Ferrari in the Ferrari 1-2, Sebastian Vettel leading home Kimi Raikkonen. They also dominated qualifying, blocking out the front row of the grid. However, Vettel had car issues. Essentially, there was something wrong with the handling, and when he wanted to go straight, and he had a steering wheel straight, the car kept leaning to the left, which meant he had to, when driving straight, have his steering wheel slightly to the right, which obviously caused him to lose a bit of time in this race. And that meant the Ferrari's pace was pretty slow, and that meant the Mercedes cars could basically keep up. Now the issue with this was that Kimi Raikkonen was right behind Vettel and had pressure from the two Mercedes drivers, but wasn't allowed to overtake Vettel, as obviously Vettel is the number one driver, which obviously is a bit of an issue. It causes a bit of an issue in the team. Raikkonen was the fastest driver in the race, clearly. His fastest lap was 4/10 faster than Vettel's fastest lap, simply because his car wasn't broken, and he wasn't allowed to overtake, which is not great, is it? And the issue with this, it causes questions. Surely Ferrari should let Raikkonen win. They risked their 1-2, and they certainly risked the race win. But it's happened, and I guess Vettel is the number one driver, the only driver in the championship fight from that team. So I guess it was sort of logical, but they could have lost the win. Now more team drivers relation stuff. Third and fourth, Bottas and Hamilton. Hamilton got started behind Verstappen after turn 1 and lap 1. And that gave Bottas a bit of a gap, but Hamilton was able to close that gap pretty quickly once Verstappen had pitted essentially. And Hamilton was allowed to go past Bottas. Hamilton did have radio issues, and the moment his radio came on, he asked could he be allowed past Bottas, and he was allowed on the condition that if he didn't overtake the Ferraris, he would let Bottas back through at the end of the Grand Prix. And he caught up to the Ferraris after being allowed back past Bottas, but he didn't overtake the Ferraris, and he kept to his word and let Bottas back through. So well done to Lewis Hamilton there. People say he likes to think he's a bigger than the team, but here he showed that isn't always the case, and he can be a team player. And this is quite a big deal considering Bottas is in the championship fight as well. And what if Hamilton loses this championship by 3 points or less? It will be because of this race. But he's gone with his head and his heart over his heart, and he done it. He kept the team happy, and I think we have to, even Hamilton's haters have to applaud him here. But in general, the Mercedes were off the pace a bit. Hamilton was very scrappy in qualifying. This track is very much like Monaco, because they called it Monaco without the barriers, and maybe that's why they struggled so much. Anyway, moving on, 5th place, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. He crashed into his teammate on lap 1. That's probably the biggest sin you can do in Formula 1, is crashing into your teammate, and he did that. But he was able to, after a 10-second penalty, he was able to fix this race up a bit, and he nearly beat the Mercedes drivers. He essentially ran a long way into the race on the super soft tyres, and then changed onto the soft tyres towards the end of the race, and had some really, really good pace. And he nearly beat the Mercedes, especially when Hamilton slowed down on the very final corner to allow Bottas pass. But ultimately though, you don't want to be crashing into your teammate, and that's what Verstappen did yesterday. 6th place, Fernando Alonso in the McLaren, and the best thing about this is that he set the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. in the McLaren Honda. I don't think anyone would have expected that. You know, I do a thing called Fantasy GP, when you sort of predict the F1 results and how many safety cars and who'll be the fastest lap, etc. I got news for you, I didn't put Alonso for fastest lap. Maybe next time I should. And yeah, it was a strong weekend for the team and for him. As I said, he got the fastest lap of the race. And Honda had no reliability issues the whole weekend, so maybe they fixed a load of their issues. And it's exciting times for that team in the second half of the season after the summer break, starting in Belgium in roughly a month's time. And maybe, are McLaren back? Tell me in the comments, do you think they can start to challenge for podiums towards the end of the season, or is it just because this isn't a very power heavy circuit? P7 was Carlos Sainz and Toro Rosso. He had lots of battling with Alonso, slightly aggressive between the two of them, and he'd be pretty pleased to beat the Force Indians as well as his teammate who he had big falling out with at Silverstone. P8 and 9 were the Force Indians of Perez and Ocon. Perez beating Ocon this weekend, and like for both drivers it was a generally quite quiet weekend. Both be disappointed to be beaten by McLaren and one of Toro Rosso's as well, but they'd be happy they kept out of each other's way again, and ultimately Force India scoring points in every single race pretty much is really nice to see. And we know they struggle on high downforce tracks sometimes, so this does show a slight improvement, and probably in Belgium and Monza in Italy they will have a better time of it. P10 was Vandoorne, so double points finish for McLaren. He did though mess up his pit stop. He sort of overshot the pit box, so he slowed down his pit stop and he could have beaten the Force Indians. So it could have been a better result, but McLaren would be happy with double points finish regardless. P11 was Daniil Kvyat in the other Toro Rosso. He got another point on his super license, this time in qualifying, for blocking Lance Stroll, I believe. But in the race he managed to stay out of trouble, so it wasn't a torpedo this time. And he has to be careful now, because if he gets more points before Austin, so the US Grand Prix in a few weeks, or a couple of months actually, he will get a race ban. And since they've introduced this idea of a super license a couple of years ago, not even Maldonado got a ban. So that sort of sums it all up, doesn't it? Kvyat needs to, stay focused and stay out of trouble, but also get points to please his team. P12 was Jolyon Palmer and the Renault, again quite a bit off the pace. His team at Hulkenberg overtook him quite easily. And he has to up his game because this week is the Hungarian mid-season test, and Robert Kubica is going to be driving for the team. If he can show he's on the pace, he might get Palmer's seats, and Palmer will be without a seat in F1. P13 was Kevin Magnussen, very aggressive driving this weekend, and aggressive words. He forced Hulkenberg off the track towards the end of the race, and then, in the media area, he then told Hulkenberg to, and I quote, suck his balls. I probably shouldn't be saying that on my channel, but he did say that. And yeah, is that the rudest thing an F1 driver's ever said to the media or to another driver? I don't know. But Magnussen also needs to control himself. Normally, he's quite calm, I think, but yeah, this was pretty bad. He shouldn't have said that. Because, kids look up to these guys, and he's just swearing at another driver, basically. So yeah, that's not on. I'm sorry. P14 was Lance Stroll in the Williams. It was a poor weekend for the team, but Stroll did well to stay consistent, and he probably couldn't have done much better. P15 and 16 were the Saubers of Wehrlein and Ericsson, again off the pace, but we'll be hoping in the upcoming test session they can somehow improve their car. Now, as for the people who retired, Nico Hulkenberg, we know he fell out big time with Magnussen, and he was forced off the track by Magnussen, which is why he retired. But he was on to score points this weekend, and he was having another strong race, and it's a shame he didn't get the points. And then another guy's retired, Paul di Resta, so he stood in for Felipe Massa just before qualifying. So yeah, pretty impressive Paul di Resta overall. He wasn't last in qualifying, and let's put it like this, he was meant to be working with Sky Sports this weekend, and not long before qualifying they were already talking about what they were going to put on their show. He had to go in the Williams car and do this rest of the weekend. all of Max's setup and settings and wheel settings and brake settings and whatever else you want to say. And he did well not to be last in qualifying, and ultimately, as somebody I think said on Twitter, he retired in the race back into retirement. And then Roman Grosjean also retired. I believe there was an issue with his pit stop which caused him to retire. And then obviously we know what happened with Ricardo. He was crashing into his teammate and that ended his race. But he's admitted that it's been dealt with by the team, and now I think he will move on. So yeah, guys, tell me, what was your favourite moment in this race? And as for Magnussen, do you think he needs to calm down a bit? And is that the rudest thing an F1 driver's ever said to another driver? Tell me in the comments. And I'll see you guys soon for another video. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. If you really enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos like this and other types of videos, please subscribe to my channel. If you have anything to say in the comments, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Also, go and check out the video that should be on screen right now, and come and follow me on Twitter, BigGaming342, and Facebook, BigGaming342, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Goodbye.